Hi. I have this great sense of this, I don't know, bubbling excitement about talking to you about all of this. I know I said in my last post, if you saw it, that the 10-day corridor that I was mentioning without knowing why, I felt that began here in Australia on the 17th, and feel that the energetics, multiple energetics of this will continue until around the 26th, I'm feeling, for some reason. And then I think things may start to almost like settle into their groove, if that makes sense. I'm not entirely sure what I mean by that as I say it, but already things have shifted, and I don't know if you can feel it as well. It's just this sense that a cycle has ended and a new one is beginning. Now, a lot of what the first few things I'm about to talk about, I wasn't going to, because it was information I'd come across. Somebody sent me a link to, I think it was Magenta Pixie's video, one of her videos, and it was talking about the equinox period. And part of one of the things that she mentioned that got me very interested was about the return of the organic moon. Because for many years now, I have not, initially I did, but then something made me stop aligning with the moon energies as I began to believe it was an inorganic structure. Not something I talked about all the time, because this seems to create conflict in people, but also great disappointment, because a lot of people used to get something and see something magical when they look up at the moon, and I didn't want to take that from them. But I personally felt that the moon was not organic, and was used, knowing the effect it had on bodies of water, to manipulate and create disruption. So anyway, I wasn't going to talk about that because I heard it, but I hadn't received anything personally around that. So it was something that I was just sitting with. So I was excited this morning to get my own confirmation that the organic lunar energy has in fact returned, and that this is the ending of the inorganic moon influence. So that made me extremely happy on a personal level, because it was something I wanted clarity on, and it came independent. I wasn't actually expecting it today. So that was really exciting. The second thing that came up is now I got my own information, which I'll share on this, but it does tie into what Magenta Pixie was saying about starting a new 3-year cycle. That makes sense. 3-year cycles, you know, we know 9 is completion. But I'm getting a message that this, many of us may be feeling this, hang on, I've got to put my glasses on. I can't even read my own notes here. It's like a weird sense of completion, even though we may not have actually completed anything that would warrant that, you know, feeling that we're getting that we've finished something. And what I'm being shown is that for some, this is an energy that's related to Sirius, and it is to do with the DNA codes that we planted back in that time, knowing that at a point in future they would activate and humanity would begin the process of awakening from its slumber. And this is happening. More and more people are awakening, and it's like we're moving into the next phase. So it's a sense that that's been completed. What was set out to be achieved by that is unfolding. So we're done, if that makes sense. Done and dusted with it. It was done. It's happening now. It's completed in that regard. And that cycle has ended, a new cycle is beginning. And also that for some, this new cycle is going to bring opportunities to finally end. I think I mentioned in a couple of videos ago that things that are coming up now are things that we really thought that we'd either resolved or pushed away far enough that they weren't going to find their way back to bother us again. And yet here they are, and it's like it's coming back full circle. They were here in our face, pushed away, dealt with enough, so we genuinely thought we weren't trying to bypass it. You really think you've done the work on some things, and then it's not influencing you anymore, and so that reinforces your belief that you've dealt with it. And so then when it comes up and surprises you again, it's like a double blindside almost, and almost a sense of failure, because you thought, I thought I did this, I thought I dealt with this. And anyway, so for some, it's going to bring opportunities in this next cycle. I don't know how long this cycle is. I'm not saying it's 3 years. I don't know how long I'm talking about when I'm saying this cycle. It could be 3 years, could be different. And again, with anything that I'm saying, I'm only sharing what I've received. I'm not saying it is what it is, and that's it. So please, just, if it feels right to you, you choose what you do with it. If it doesn't, just let it go. But it's kind of, this cycle will bring a chance to really, for them to come back around, and then for you to just do whatever you need to do to complete this pattern once and for all, to alchemize it. And then as soon as that happens, this huge transformation occurs. So this next cycle is going to bring another period of huge transformations coming for people. Those that are just waking up, those that are already on the journey, everyone's going to go their next level. So it's like the staircase. We've just gone boom, and now we're going to level out a bit to integrate all of that. But we're up now, so that's exciting. Now I'm not sure about this, because I have to say the names have come up when I've done readings for people in the past, quite a while ago. But I'm getting the message that Helios and Vesta, our solar logos, are returning. And I don't know what that means. I don't feel like they ever went away. But I feel like it's referencing the returning of that balanced and pure divine masculine and divine feminine energy coming back. So yeah, I question, should I even mention that, considering I'm not fully sure what that means at this point, and it was a strong yes. So there you go. Also, this message came through from a group that I haven't actually worked with since 2019, and when I did back then, it was on a very, very personal level. So I was actually very, very pleasantly surprised to make connection again. They identified to me as the Andromedan Collective, as a ninth dimensional collective group. And the message that they brought through this morning is that being aware of, so I'm going to have to read just to make sure, because I want to make sure I get this right. It's not my own thoughts. I feel like I've got to deliver how I received, because that's the authentic way to do it. I don't know. So being aware of and working with your own energy field will be priority in this cycle. I mean, it should always be, but this is really being highlighted now. Extreme sensitivity is being indicated, and this is emotional, physical, and spiritual. So I feel like there's going to be many people are going to be feeling a lot more emotionally sensitive to things. Just in general, seeing things on the news will suddenly start really affecting them. Their hearts are opening, and so they're going to become more sensitive to everything. So are those who already have the open hearts. It's just like everything's being amplified and increased now. It's going to be more sensitivity to your environment, both physically and energetically as well. And spiritually, what feeds your soul, what what depletes it, and being aware of all these things and working with all of them. Knowing how to clear and raise the frequency of your own field will be crucial to maintaining a balanced state of being. And that you may experience attempts to disrupt or distract you from both the physical and astral realms. So knowing how to set boundaries and hold them will be necessary if you wish to experience true change in the way that you experience things. It's no good. You don't want to have to be really working hard to clear your energy field of negativity and lower frequencies from choosing to constantly place yourself in environments where you know this is happening, but don't want to offend people, don't know how to change. I'm not saying you need to do it overnight, but if you truly want to experience a different way, then it's likely that changes are going to need to be made so that you can create boundaries that you know will enhance your growth and your ability to be in more joyful and uplifting states of being, rather than being constantly drained by people who try and drag you into conversations that hold nothing for you, engaging in things that just don't do anything, or going to places and being around people that are just toxic for your energy. It's not saying that they are toxic people necessarily. It's purely a resonance thing. As you start expanding your energy, you start, and I don't do it like this because I don't like suggesting that one's higher than the other, even though we're talking frequencies, it's a measurement, but it's an expansion of being. And so when you're both here and you start expanding, and maybe they're catching up in increments, but this gap goes from here where there's an ability to relate to one another energetically, to so far away that it's like you can't seem to reach each other anymore. You can't seem to communicate. It's like there's a barrier there, and there is. It's an energetic one, and it's not a bad thing. It's just what happens in the process of expansion. And that's why it's good to be around people that are expanding all the time with you and understand the process, and that are encouraging you to expand as well, in whatever form that may be. You don't need to necessarily know how to clear your own energy, how to do all of that. If you don't just spend as much time in nature as you can, it's naturally going to shift your vibration through the process of, frequency entrainment, and it alters your whole state of being if you allow it to. If you're going to sit there and just worry about everything, you're probably not going to get the full effects, but you will still get the effects because they happen on every layer of being, not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional. It's like, I don't know, they all come together and you just all sink into each other, all states of you. This is what allows you to experience healing on multiple levels. It's never just one thing you've got to fix, ever. Even a broken leg, there's more to it than just fixing the bones. It's like looking at a hologram. You touch one thing, you affect the whole thing. So grounding is being highlighted as being particularly important. Now, I know we probably all think we know what grounding means, and we do, but I'm being reminded to highlight that grounding, it's not just standing barefoot on the earth, it is about that, but it's the process of bringing all your bodies, the physical and the spiritual bodies, into this alignment and full presence in that moment. And that's when you're in a state of wholeness and come into balance, because your mind is not racing with thoughts of that. You're not feeling emotions at something else. And, you're just, all parts of you are there in that moment. And that's where we need to sort of be all the time, I think. It's very hard though, well, for me anyway. But just full presence. it's also about discharging all that electrical energy. And especially if you do a lot of energy work, you know that you get very electrical in nature. And it's like earthing your house. You don't want to be walking around an electrified house. So you discharge all that energy. You ground it back into the earth. It's also about bringing you from that state where your energy is projecting outwards back into that more magnetic and receptive state. And in that receptive state, that's when you can get those higher perceptions and whispers and draw them in to the heart. And then that's when we ground them, anchor them into the physical world. And that was the message from the beginning, wasn't it? Not to escape the physical world, to get back up, into the stars, but to bring the stars and the concept of heaven to the earth again. And I forget that sometimes. I get annoyed with all the things that have to be dealt with, that I feel like take my attention away from all the things that I could be focusing on that lift me up more. But it's not about escaping it. It's about finding a way to make all those things part of the experience. And to take something that you used to see as mundane and a 3D experience, how can you turn it into a 5D experience? It's the choice is there. It's available now. The other message that I'm getting with that is that if you're into crystals, clear quartz is going to be a really useful tool in all of this. It's going to be helping with the purification process and the amplification. So this cycle as well is the next level of purification. And I know that some of us, when we hear that, go, oh God, how much more purification can I take? Well, it's not going to stop. It's just going to be constant. And as I've said before, it's a flow. It's like a river. You can't fall down a waterfall and survive that. Depending on the size of the waterfall, but this is a pretty big waterfall. If you were to go down it at full strength, wouldn't survive. So we're going down in a gentle flow in the stream analogy. Actually, the stream's going upwards, but you know what I mean. So this is purification on all levels, all layers of body, cellular, everything. It's all about alignment, clarity, self-awareness, and self-acceptance. That's huge. Self-acceptance is key to then being able to bring yourself to take action on things. When you accept yourself, you stop judging and criticizing and everything else, and you just say, right, what do I need to do to change? And then it becomes a completely different process. Oh my gosh, I can't even read my writing. So it's telling me that when you take action, this is then what allows the healing to start occurring. Healing can only do so much when no action's eventually taken to move forward, to expand, to grow. So it's all about first accepting yourself and then passing that gift on to others, whether it's teaching them to accept themselves or simply holding that space of just acceptance for them. We're going to see a lot of nervous system changes. That makes me super nervous because honestly, there are days when I think my nervous system's just collapsing, and you know what, it is, I guess. So yeah, expect a lot more of those feelings, like coming down with something, but never actually getting sick. That electrical feeling through the spine, it's because the spinal fluid's being upgraded as well. It's all happening in the brain and then being passed down through the spinal fluid so that it can reach all areas of the body. A lot of people are going to see an increase in their abilities. This is going to excite some people to no end that have been wanting this and hoping for it, but it's probably also going to freak some people out a bit. So I know that when people start talking about their experiences, we can get really excited for them, because it is. We get excited to know that this is opening up for everybody. Well, not everyone yet, but more and more people. This is opening up for them, and it's a whole new world, and we know that, and it's exciting. But it can also, if you remember, there can be moments that are extremely frightening with the process. So just try to remember that everyone will experience it differently. So basically, this next cycle is all about increasing our ability to hold and radiate a greater percentage of light within our vessel. So, you know, if you think at the start of the journey, and this is just throwing around numbers as an example, but just say at the start of the journey you maybe held 15% light, and then as you've progressed, your consciousness is expanded so that you're able to then draw more in and hold it. There are moments where we draw it in, but then it sort of passes through because our vessel just can't hold it until it's integrated enough that then it can work on receiving more and going through that process, so I believe. So this is really just about everybody at their own pace, their own leveling up, being able to hold and embody and radiate more light with everyone and everything. So I'm sure there's going to be rough periods along the way, but I also think that it's going to be an extremely exciting time. So I will send you all big heart hugs and look forward to talking with you soon. Bye.